What happens when Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy ask Trump to bring more immigrants, but Trump's own supporters call it betrayal? Silicon Valley says America needs foreign talent. Trump's base says, hire Americans first. Who's right and who actually loses? Thinking face Trump once seemed ready to open America's doors until his own supporters slammed them shut. But guess which community is paying the highest price? Door crossmark, Black unemployment is rising fast, and here's the shocking reason. It's not just about illegal immigration, it's about ownership. High-voltage, immigrant-owned businesses hire their own. Silicon Valley wants cheap foreign talent. And Trump's base wants every job to go to Americans. So where does that leave Black workers? Detective. In late 2024, Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, and a few other business leaders asked President-elect Donald Trump to be more open to H-1B visas. Quick refresher, an H-1B lets U.S. employers hire foreign workers for specialized jobs, often tech roles. This plea came from the tech world, no surprise given the people involved. The message was simple: the U.S. needs highly skilled workers. Bring in the best minds from around the world, the entrepreneurs said, and the country wins. They pointed out that many successful tech leaders are immigrants themselves, so recruiting talent abroad is a clear advantage for America, not for its rivals. On that live stream where the request was made, 3 of the 4 people speaking to Donald Trump were immigrants themselves. This fact carried weight. They weren't simply talking about visas in the abstract, they were living proof of what immigration can contribute to America's economy. Trump listened closely, and at least in the moment, he seemed open to their argument. That openness was notable because during his first presidency, he was far more skeptical of the H-1B program. But there was also political history in the background. Elon Musk had been instrumental in getting Trump reinstated on Twitter, and his support online helped shape the momentum around Trump's campaign. Vivek Ramaswamy, too, had become an influential figure within conservative political circles, aligning himself with Trump's broader vision while bringing in the voice of a younger, entrepreneurial generation. When both Musk and Vivek made their case, Trump seemed willing to bend in their direction, at least temporarily. Still, this initial agreement didn't last. The pushback came quickly, not from Democrats, not from progressives, but from Trump's own MAGA base. For them, immigration has always been a sensitive issue, and not just illegal immigration. Trump's core supporters largely saw his election as a promise to take back American jobs, reduce foreign labor, and keep employment opportunities within U.S. borders. They were ready to accept strict crackdowns on undocumented workers, but the suggestion of bringing in highly skilled immigrants through H-1Bs felt like a betrayal of that promise. To understand why, you have to step into the mindset of Trump's supporters. They weren't only concerned about people crossing the border illegally and taking low-wage jobs in agriculture or construction. They also feared a different kind of displacement, one where highly educated engineers or programmers from India, China, or Europe could come in and outcompete American graduates. For them, the issue was less about legality and more about loyalty. If Trump said America first, then every job, whether low-wage or high-paying, should go to an American first. And so, when Trump appeared to entertain the idea of expanding H-1B visas, his supporters saw red flags. To them, Silicon Valley billionaires were not acting out of patriotism, but out of profit. They argued that hiring foreign workers at a lower cost allowed companies to expand their margins while avoiding the responsibility of training and investing in the domestic workforce. Why pour money into American universities and recent graduates, they asked, if you can simply import a software engineer who will work for less and doesn't require the same benefits? This debate exposed a tension at the very heart of the immigration discussion. On one side stood the business leaders, Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, and others, who saw immigration as an engine of innovation. They pointed to themselves as examples, immigrants or children of immigrants who built massive companies that employed tens of thousands of Americans. They argued that shutting the door on global talent would only weaken America's competitiveness. After all, if the brightest minds go elsewhere, to Canada, to Europe, to Asia, then America risks falling behind in industries that define the future, like artificial intelligence, space exploration, and renewable energy. On the other side stood Trump's political base, who believed that the promise of draining the swamp and putting America first was about protecting their economic survival. Many of these supporters live far from Silicon Valley. They don't see the value of recruiting elite coders from Bangalore or physicists from Germany. What they see is stagnating wages, job insecurity, and an economy that feels rigged against them. To them, H-1Bs weren't a symbol of innovation. They were a symbol of outsourcing brought to American soil. Trump found himself caught between these two worlds. Aligning with Silicon Valley meant listening to powerful business leaders who had influence, resources, and platforms that could help him politically. But leaning into the demands of Musk and Vivek risked alienating the very base that fueled his movement. For a politician whose strength came from energizing working-class voters, that was a dangerous gamble. As the debate unfolded, Trump began to recalibrate. The shift was subtle at first, but then it became undeniable. He returned to the language his supporters wanted to hear, that jobs should remain in America, that foreign workers were undercutting American families, and that companies had a duty to train American graduates instead of importing replacements. This wasn't just rhetoric. Policy began to reflect this pivot. Trump floated the idea of a steep $100,000 annual fee for companies that wanted to hire H-1B workers. Compared to the few $1,000s in fees that companies had been paying under the existing system, this was a massive hike, effectively a tariff on foreign labor. For big corporations, it raised the cost of hiring global talent to the point of being uneconomical. The signal was clear: if you want to grow your business in America, you need to hire Americans. Invest in American universities. Train American graduates. Stop leaning on the cheaper option of bringing in international workers. For Trump's base, this was a victory. It reassured them that America first still meant what they thought it meant, protecting domestic jobs and prioritizing their economic future. For Silicon Valley, it was a setback. Leaders like Musk argued that this policy would choke innovation and prevent America from attracting the talent needed to stay ahead. The very tension that had surfaced on that live stream was now written into policy. And that tension isn't going away. The debate over H-1B visas highlights a larger question about America's identity. Is the nation stronger when it opens its doors to the world's best and brightest, or when it closes ranks to ensure every opportunity goes first to its own citizens? Trump's back and forth shows that even leaders who understand the economic benefits of immigration are constrained by the political realities of their supporters. In the end, what began as a casual exchange on a live stream turned into a defining test of Trump's second term. Could he balance the demands of Silicon Valley with the expectations of his MAGA base? The answer, at least for now, leans heavily toward the base. America's doors to foreign talent are not closing entirely, but they are becoming far more expensive to walk through. For tech firms, H-1B hires can be cheaper than local labor and are used for high-paying roles in Silicon Valley. Critics argued big winners like Musk and Vivek, who made their fortunes in the US, should hire Americans so the benefits stay here. Trump largely ignored the H-1B issue for a while, but then shifted. After tensions with Musk grew, the administration announced tougher terms: a new $100,000 annual fee on each H-1B worker, plus other charges. Previously, H-1B costs were much smaller. Applicants often paid only a few $1,000s every few years. The new fee acts like a big tariff on foreign tech labor. Some people applauded this move as a way to keep jobs for Americans and force companies to train US graduates instead of importing talent. Others, including critics of Trump and international observers, reacted strongly, some saying it signals the end of the American dream for many hopefuls. So here's the main thing to think about. Do we want policy that pushes companies to hire and train domestic workers, or rules that make it easier for global talent to come and boost American innovation? Both sides have strong reasons, and this debate is far from over. When people talk about ideas like harm reduction or slogans such as America First, the conversation often gets stuck on the surface. The bigger picture, what's really happening in people's day-to-day lives, can be overlooked. One of the clearest examples is unemployment. On paper, the US economy may look steady, but when you look closer, the numbers tell a different story. Unemployment isn't distributed evenly across the population. Black Americans, in particular, are being pushed out of the workforce at a faster pace than others. Between August 2024 and August 2025, the gap became undeniable. For white men, unemployment hovered around 3.4%, barely moving an increase of just 0.1%. White women even experienced a slight decrease in joblessness, suggesting stability or improvement for that group. But for Black workers, the story was very different. Black men saw their unemployment rate rise from 5.8% to 7%. Black women faced an even steeper climb, from 6.3% to 7.8%. These aren't just numbers on a chart. They represent families struggling to make ends meet, communities losing stability, and individuals being systematically excluded from opportunity. So, what do these figures actually show? At the simplest level, they reveal that Black workers are disproportionately vulnerable to economic shifts. Whether the debate is about migrants, foreign labor through H-1B visas, or shifts in domestic hiring, the outcome seems consistent. Black people are losing ground faster than their peers. This raises uncomfortable but important questions. Is the issue purely a skills gap? Or is it about something deeper: ownership, access, and who controls the industries that drive the American economy? Let's break it down. Black Americans have talent, education, and ambition equal to anyone else. Yet the structures of ownership in many sectors, technology, healthcare, trucking, finance, are overwhelmingly dominated by non-Black groups. And ownership matters. The people who own businesses also shape hiring practices. Often, immigrants who come to America and establish companies hire within their own communities. That's not necessarily malicious. It's human nature to build networks around familiarity and trust. But the effect is real. Black workers get overlooked. Take the trucking industry as an example. Many new trucking companies are owned and operated by Russians, South Asians, or other immigrant groups. They tend to staff their fleets and dispatch offices with people from the same background. A Black truck driver entering that space often finds himself one of the few, if not the only, Black employee. When you multiply that across industries, you see a clear pattern. Black participation gets squeezed out, not because of lack of skill, but because the pipelines of opportunity are controlled by others. Meanwhile, when Black Americans do step into ownership roles and begin hiring, they often encounter unique challenges. There's evidence, both anecdotal and documented, that Black business owners face more pushback, higher scrutiny, and less support from employees and contractors. This creates a discouraging cycle. Black ownership struggles to scale, which in turn limits Black hiring, which then worsens the unemployment gap. And let's be clear, this isn't only about immigrants. It's also about the way the broader labor market treats Black workers. Resumes with Black-sounding names are still less likely to get callbacks. The rollback of diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) programs, coupled with the end of affirmative action in higher education, has made the problem worse. Employers are no longer under cultural or legal pressure to diversify their workforce. That means hiring managers can default to their biases, conscious or not, without consequence. So even if companies like those in Silicon Valley stop importing foreign talent, that doesn't automatically mean Black workers benefit. In reality, those jobs are often snapped up by white applicants. Without DI initiatives or targeted pipelines for underrepresented groups, the system tilts back toward those who already have access, connections, and generational advantages. This shift has serious implications for the future. If current trends continue, Black unemployment could hit double digits again, climbing past 10% in the near future. Many of the government jobs that historically employed Black women in administration, education, and social programs are shrinking, and they aren't coming back. That safety net is gone, and with it, the stability it provided for countless households. All of this points to a hard but necessary conclusion. Black Americans cannot rely solely on external systems for economic survival. Political parties, whether Democrat or Republican, have not consistently delivered security or opportunity. Business leaders like Elon Musk or Vivek Ramaswamy do not feel an obligation to prioritize Black workers. The market, left to itself, will not correct these disparities. That means the path forward requires building from within. It means Black ownership in every sector, from trucking to tech. It means creating networks that intentionally hire and support Black workers. It means treating unemployment not just as a statistic, but as a call to action for collective self-reliance. This is not to say systemic barriers don't matter. They absolutely do. But waiting for those barriers to be removed by outside forces has not worked. The reality of the current economy shows that Black communities will need to generate their own opportunities, businesses, and spaces for economic participation. Because without ownership, the pattern will repeat. When jobs are scarce, Black workers will be the first to lose them. And when opportunities expand, others will be the first to benefit. The unemployment numbers from 2024 to 2025 are not just a snapshot of a bad year, they're a warning of what lies ahead if nothing changes. So what does that mean? Whether or not America accepts migrants, H-1B workers, or foreign talent, the outcome is the same. Black people are losing jobs faster. Some argue it's a skills gap. Others say it's about ownership, who controls the industries, the contracts, the hiring. Workers are less willing to stay committed when the boss is Black, which creates higher turnover and more instability. These hurdles discourage Black business owners from expanding or even from hiring outside their immediate circle. This creates a frustrating cycle. Immigrant-owned businesses grow rapidly by pulling from their own networks, building strong ecosystems that support one another. Black businesses, on the other hand, often struggle with both outside bias and internal doubts, which slows their growth. Without scaling up, Black entrepreneurs can't create as many jobs. And without those jobs, Black workers are left with fewer opportunities, which only makes the unemployment gap wider. It's important to understand that this isn't about ability. Black Americans have the skills, drive, and intelligence to succeed in every field: trucking, healthcare, tech, you name it. The real problem is access and ownership. If you don't own the company, you don't set the hiring practices. If you don't have networks of capital and support, you can't expand as quickly. And if you're always trying to enter industries where others already dominate, you're always playing catch-up. The lesson here is clear. Without ownership, Black workers will continue to be pushed to the margins. As long as other groups control the majority of private businesses, they will naturally hire from within their own communities. And as long as Black ownership remains limited, the cycle of exclusion will continue. This doesn't mean Black Americans should give up. Quite the opposite, it's a call to action. The path forward lies in building and supporting more Black-owned businesses across industries. When Black entrepreneurs expand, they create jobs for Black workers, reduce reliance on outside systems, and start to close the gap in unemployment. It's not an easy fix, but it's the only way to break the cycle of being left out of someone else's hiring network. It's also about loyalty. Immigrants building businesses in America don't feel an obligation to hire Black workers. And in tech, healthcare, and other sectors, the competition isn't just with white Americans, it's also with workers in India, Africa, Pakistan, and beyond, who are willing to work for less. This is why Black unemployment keeps climbing. It's not because there isn't talent, there's plenty of that. It's because Black Americans don't have enough ownership in private industries. Without that control, we're always at the mercy of someone else's hiring decisions. And let's not ignore how companies are handling resumes. Studies and stories on TikTok show it clearly. Names that sound African American get overlooked. DI programs are being scrapped. Affirmative action is gone. And without those protections, hiring managers simply don't have to call you back. So even if tech jobs stay in the US, who are they really for? Largely white workers. Which means Black Americans will once again have to create opportunities within our own communities, building businesses, services, and networks where we employ ourselves. This administration has made its priorities clear. America First doesn't mean all of America, it means protecting white employment and cutting costs for white workers. Black Americans, meanwhile, have no political leverage. We didn't have it with Democrats, and we don't have it now. That's why the message is simple. We're being pushed to work together. Forced to rely on each other. Forced to build something of our own. If nothing changes, Black unemployment could easily hit 10% by next year. And those government jobs Black women lost? They're not coming back. So the choice is in front of us. Either hope someone else saves us, or take this as a call to action. Build within our own community, hire our own, and create the opportunities that no one else will hand us.